Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Since you too, this is Pastor Dow. I'm coming on here this morning because, we're in a serious war, a very serious war. And this war is not going to let up. And we need to understand this, that there are people who are under the control of the devil. And it's evident because they continue in the sins of their life. In other words, they never repent, they never change courses. And that's the reason why they're blinded. But you have a bad situation on your hand when you have people who live in sin, who refuse to be holy, trying to judge the people who are living righteous and have continue on to be righteous and still striving to enter in. Yesterday, I had a few saints call me because they're living in areas where there's literally just getting attacked. I had one brother, had his grandmother just start hitting him with a stick, and she started beating him up in Jesus' name. I said, what in the world? Let me tell y'all something. Most people out there will never understand the type of spiritual condition and fight that we're in until you make up your mind to start keeping the commandments. As soon as you start keeping the commandments, and as soon as you forsake sin, you're going to find out who's still under the control of sin, who's under the control of Satan, because they will vehemently attack you. And without cause, without a reason. Being a pastor, I'm out there in the public, and my life is on display. Everybody sees it. And so therefore, I have a lot of enemies. You cannot be a man of Yah and not have enemies in this world. You just can't. And now, I have to say this so that you can understand. Now you see the reason why I only pay attention to those who are Torah observant, those who submit to biblical terms, and those who actually know me for who I am. Because, there are many things that would try to sidetrack not only myself, but you out there from off the course that you're on when we're heading on to the New Jerusalem. But I tell you what, we got a bad thing. Lately I've been teaching people more than anything how David prayed and how to return curses from people. And of course, we live in a system in the world where, you can use the law for the lawless. Because, there are many ways you can go about doing things, but, I want you people to understand this. I want you people to understand if your accuser, the one who accuses you, if they refuse to face you in an open dialogue, in an open forum, are you following me? Then pay no attention to them because really, truly, they're looking for an outlet and nobody's really paying attention to them. And I'm using this and saying this for you because, I got one brother who used to be a brother. It's kind of hard to tell if he's a brother, not with the way he act, because he's got a problem with a certain sin that he just can't seem to get past. And he ends up being two-spirited, a double-minded. Bible says a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. And he's going the same direction of people who I've ran across in the past. When you reprove them and correct them for sin, they begin to hate you. When you will not allow them to run over you, and when you will not allow them to stand on your door and treat you like a doormat, they end up becoming very vindictive and hatred toward you. They started hating you. And I think what it is that, I know how the book says and what it says, and I'm not going to do like other people do and let people just run all over you for no reason at all. I had a lady here some time ago up in East Tennessee. Her and her husband used to come to assembly here. And she was the one who found the ministry. And she was all excited. I'm using this as an example to show you what happens. And her and her husband was all excited. They were doing well. And I would tell you, they would give me gifts. They would give me gifts and say, I love you, Pastor. And they would come down and stay on our land, spend the night, and stay a few days. And then one day, she came and asked me a question about wearing a bathing suit on a beach. Well, my answer is that if you're going to be an Israelite, Israelites, we don't go to beaches and we don't wear bathing suits on beaches. Oh, boy, why in the world did I give that answer? Because, boy, when I gave that answer, all of a sudden, they say I'm a thief. They say I'm taking everything from them, the stuff that they gave now. And they said, matter of fact, now I'm the worst man of God that they ever met in their whole entire life. I sure would like to see what they're living like. Now, I wonder if she looks like our sisters. But anyway, this is what happens. All of a sudden, bam, it's like a spirit or something that enter into these people and possess them. And they spend the rest of their days trying to cause hurt, harm, and injury. They're not going to injure me whatsoever at all. No one will say, oh, no, nobody that accuses me of anything is going to injure me whatsoever at all. But the whole idea is that they seek only to pervert your conscience. And that's the reason why I tell people to check me out, because I'm one of the few pastors on here that would tell you to check me out. And of course, I'm only one of the few men that have also said if I've done anything wrong to anybody, I will get it right. Whether they want to be right or not is totally irrelevant. But this is the type of spirit we're dealing with in this age, because, you know, people are actually under the control of the enemy. And when you have people who hate you and people who despise you, I teach the people that you should keep your peace and you should get these people out of your lives. Move them from your life, because remember, Jesus said, by their fruit you shall know them. And that's the only way you're going to know any of us is by our fruit. You're going to know us by our spirit, by our character, by our fruit, and that is it. You know, the sad part about it is that being a man of Yah, nobody actually has any respect for my wife whatsoever at all. They never consider my wife, Sister Carol, which is a very humble, beautiful woman. We've been married 26 years. We've been together 30 years. And nobody ever considers her in these situations. Now, she doesn't pay attention to any of this stuff because she knows what comes along with being a man of Yah. But, you know, it is pretty sad that nobody ever considers her in anything. And my wife is holy. My wife has the law of kindness in her heart. Many of these people we've opened up our home to. We've allowed them to stay with us. And this is the thanks that we get. And for good, they reward me evil. Every time you do good, they send evil back. Is it not remarkable and amazing? I use this as a teaching tool this morning to let you know that you can tell that the war is really truly on. You know that the war is on because as soon as you start keeping the commandments, and as soon as you start keeping Torah, and as soon as you start eradicating sin from your life and living right, you're going to find out who your enemies really truly are. I mean, why is it that when you come to the truth, you start living the truth and doing the truth, why does your family always have to all of a sudden start calling you names? Just because you choose to serve the Most High of the Bible. Why come they can't be content with your decisions? I mean, many of you are grown. I had the other day somebody email me who I don't even know. I got Brother Dale up here from Dallas, Texas. And I told him, I said, brother, you got a sister named Kathy or something like that? He said, yeah. He said, well, I said, brother, were they looking for you? Brother Dale is 41 years old, has 2 or 3 grown children, and they are looking for him. You know why? Only because they're up here at Straightway. You know, it's amazing because nobody has ever left Straightway injured, hurt, harmed, or endangered. If anything, they've returned with a mind to live a life to where they're not practicing sin. But they go back to these homes and they're hated, and then the family wonders why nobody wants to be around them when the people are constantly being attacked, when they're constantly being called all kind of names. And they wonder why come nobody wants any association. Well, the Bible is very clear on things like that. If nobody favors your cause, and if nobody can't respect you, then you move them out of your life so you can keep your peace, because all they're going to continue to do is continue to add hurt, harm to you, and you don't need that kind of drama in your life. The Prince of Peace has called us to peace. And if possible, you're charged to live peaceably with all men. But if you can't live peaceably with them and they can't live peaceably with you, then you just turn the page and go on and just wipe them out of your book. And that way you can walk in the newness of life and keep your peace. And I'm saying all this morning because many of you are dealing with the pain of family. Why don't you just go read Matthew 10. Start at verse 33 and read to the end of the chapter and see what Jesus said himself about who was going to be your greatest foes and your greatest enemies. Just go read it for yourself. All you have to do is read it for yourself, because see, a lot of people want to charge Pastor Dow as telling people to hate their family. I don't tell nobody to hate anybody. That will be against Torah. But I do teach for you to know your enemies. And you do need to know them. And a lot of your enemies and a lot of your foes, first and foremost, are going to be they of your own household. Is it not amazing that if we're smoking dope, fornicating, running around in two-piece bathing suits? I mean, I've got to understand that if you're going to wear a two-piece bathing suit to the beach, how about when people come over to your house on the day that you go to church and you come out of your back bedroom in your bras and panties and put yourself on display? Why is it wrong to put yourself on display that way? Or why is it wrong to put yourself on display? Why come you can't go to church with a two-piece bathing suit on? But why is it okay, it's comfortable, and it's fine for you to go out there and put your body on display to let the whole world see you run around in your panties and drawers on a bathing beach? Now, if you want to do that, be at peace, have fun. But our sisters at this assembly, we have a standard of holiness. They don't do that. And I can't understand for the life of me why someone can't be at peace. If they want to run around naked, then go run around naked. But you're not going to bring that spirit over here and expect for us to be content with you with that behavior. I don't want our children seeing stuff like that. Now, there's a whole world out there for you to go live the way you want to live and do the way you do. But if you're going to come over here under my watch, where I'm the pastor, that behavior is not going to happen here. No, it ain't. And all I did was just put restrictions up on what we do here. You got a whole entire world out there to do whatever you want. And that's why I say you also need to watch the people who say that they are of the Messiah, and yet they have a double standard. When they are around us or around you, they behave one way, but as soon as they get away from around you, they have a different lifestyle and totally different perspective. You're looking at a devil in disguise. Now, the reason why I'm hated is because I love people enough to tell them the truth. As a matter of fact, the Bible says in Galatians 4:16, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? I've had people come and live here and give money. And then 2-3 months later, they turn around and they leave. And you know what? The majority of the time, I end up giving them almost every single nickel and penny back. That means that they have actually, listen to this now, that means they lived here, room, board, food, housing, shelter, clothing, but then all of a sudden, when they get disgruntled and they no longer want to submit to righteous authority and rule, they want everything back as if it's owed to them. But you know what? When you go to a hotel room and you don't like the service and stuff, do you get your money back? We are something, ain't we? I say all this because I want all you Israelites out there to be at peace, because you're in a war and you need to know you're in a war. So be at peace among yourself, and don't let people try to sway you. Remember, the accuser of the brethren is Satan, and he has to use people to get his job done. But the one thing the accuser will not do is face the one they accuse. That right there is letting you know what kind of spirit they're operating in. So don't be a doormat for people who don't respect you and people who don't like you, and the people who are not fond of you. I feel sorry for all of you out there that are my enemies. I really, truly do. And the majority of my enemies is because I will not conform to their ways. No, I'm not going to sanction you being a drunkard and bringing that spirit around people who want to be holy and think that it's okay. I'm not going to do that. Now, you can go out there to the Christian church and all these other places and let them put up with your drunkenness, your riotous living, and all that stuff. I came from that mess. I know what it means to sin. I lived in sin at one time, and I lived it very, very good. And so I understand it. And now I despise it and hate it. So I'm not about to make anybody feel comfortable in their sin. No, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And I hope that all you Israelites start to learn how to stop being a doormat for everyone who doesn't favor your cause. And that's the truth. You know, for instance, we just had we had 3 little young Israelite babies born at the last gathering of the saints. And 2 of the families, the brothers and sisters, they had people, they wanted them to go to the hospital to have the babies because they didn't feel it was safe for them to have a baby at home. Now, all across America, believe it or not, there are midwives that actually go and help deliver babies. And there are people who don't even use midwives. They just birth the baby at home for themselves. You know why? Because they do not want to go and pay a hospital for something that occurs naturally, that people have been doing ever since the beginning of time. Now, when you've been conditioned and this system has put so much fear upon you to think that you can't do nothing without a doctor and stuff, I expect your behavior to be that way. But when someone chooses to live free because they are free, just because they have breath and life from the Almighty themselves, why come you can't be at peace at the decisions that people make? Well, anyway, they had successful births, successful deliveries at home of the children. They're very healthy and vibrant, doing well. And so I asked the brother the other day, I said, now tell me, what are these people who was against you having these babies at home? Tell me what they say now. You know what they say now? I'm going to show you the mindset. This is the mindset. Well, I remember such and such so-and-so. They was born at home and they had this baby at home. And I'm sitting there thinking what in the world? What happened to these people who were so against it? And now that the babies are born, they can't even stay away from the home. They were so against it. And now all of a sudden their mind switches from they remember such and so-and-so who was born at home. What in the world is going on? I mean, after all, if people are so concerned about people having babies at the hospital, maybe these people can't afford $15,000 to deliver a baby. And if people are so concerned, this is my thoughts. If you're so concerned that someone has a baby and they must be born at a hospital, how about you put up the $15,000 for them to have the baby so that way you can be at peace? But I don't have too many people volunteering for stuff like that. I had a guy the other day call me up and said, Pastor, the lighting in the church is pretty bad. It's not where it should be. So I replied back to him and I said, I'll tell you what. You've already made suggestions on the type of lighting that we need. And I said, and if it troubles you and it bothers you so much, I said, I'll tell you what, how about you send me $1,000 offering? I promise you I will buy those lights and I will install them in the church. You know, I've not heard one peep from that person yet. Not one peep. But yet it was a concern of his that we get the light and change in the church. See, Pastor Dow don't have $1,000 to just go put up on some lights and when our lights are functioning fine right now. You see the mindset I'm talking about? See what we're dealing with today? And when you start calling people on things that they make suggestions on and stuff, they get mad and upset. I'm trying to show you the chaotic mindset of people today. And those of you who are serving the Most High, listen to Pastor Dow very closely. Those of you who are serving the Most High and serving the truth, if somebody does not understand what you're doing, there are plenty of people out there, even though we're few, who do get it and who understand what we're doing. Concentrate your time, your efforts, and your energies in developing healthy relationships and get rid of all of the relationships that causes pain, heartache in your life. You don't need that. You don't need that kind of drama. These people live for that drama. You're supposed to live for peace. Be at peace among yourselves, and the Most High will give you understanding. I thought I'd give these examples here to show you the mindset, the way people think, because the Bible does teach that a double-minded person is unstable in all of their ways. And it clearly tells you, meddle not with them that are given to change. Last one. I had somebody give me an army deuce and a half. All right, but they're telling people that I took it and I stole it. Now watch this. If they gave it to me, then that means the only way that I could get registration and tags on that is that I have to provide a gift form here in Tennessee. And on a gift form, these people must sign it. These people must also give their license number. And then I take it down to the Department of Motor Vehicles. And then I do the necessary paperwork. Everything is in order. And then I give it to them. And then in turn, they give me a tag. So did I steal it? They said, well, I want it back because you stole it from me. I said, I tell you what, you go out there and you tell everybody that I stole it, that you tell them. Now, you gave it to me, but you get out there in the public in front of everybody with me and tell everybody that I stole it, and I'll give it back to you. I told you, I said, if you lie, you can get it back. Well, anyway, they went away. And now they're on these little forum boards where all these disgruntled people who is probably, on the entitlement program, who is have nothing else better to do. So they sit back on topic forums board and they gossip all day long. And they make themselves feel bad over their gossip and stuff. And nothing is still changing. I am very familiar with the law. I can stop a lot of this nonsense with people and stuff because I'm a pastor, I'm a public figure. I can stop a lot of this nonsense just by simply suing them for defamation of character. And pursue it pretty hard too. Because I have many saints and many Israelites out there that'll be willing to pay for my lawyer fees, my attorney fees, in order to get this done. But I'm not about to waste the Most High money on no foolishness like that. I thought I'd come on here this morning to let y'all know that I do understand the war and the fight and what's going on. And I tried to end it, but I'm going to end it for the third time. If people do not favor you and your cause, and if they don't know you, and a lot of people who refuse to sin, they're going to hate you. They're not going to want to know you because you won't sanction their lifestyle or their sin. Remove them out of your life and continue on in peace. Now, either this advice that I gave was sound or it was false. You have to be the judge. What saith you? Let's hear what you have to say in the comments down there. The king coming. Be at peace. And one more other thing that just comes to mind. I've got a sister who's a school teacher. And her being a school teacher, she has associates, colleagues. And, they never, she never hears about how prosperous. She never hears any comments about, how her countenance is doing, how she looks so happy and so at peace and all this other stuff. But the only time she ever hears anything about this ministry is when her colleagues so-called just come across. I wasn't looking for anything. I just came across this. And then they present this information to her, and it has to do with all these disgruntled people out there who are just flat out lying because, again, a coward will not face their accuser. They won't do it. They just simply won't do it. And so I begin to question the character and the nature of these people who the only thing that they ever come to my sister with is what they so-called find what somebody else says when they know my manner of lifestyle. Now, I live in a town that hates black people. Over 90% of the consensus of this town hate black people. And you know the reason why they hate me? Because I'm just simply because I'm black. If you don't believe me, come here. Come here and see for yourself. I constantly get people come in, whether they be a white couple or a black couple, and they see the people dress holy and stuff. I had one couple get pulled over. Was coming out of the store, and a cop threatened him and said, I was going to pull you over, but, because of a light or something like that. And then they turned around and left the conversation and said, oh, you one of them. Isn't that amazing? Now, why do we want that kind of attention from this county right here? I mean, we let these people serve their pagan gods, their Christian gods, and we don't say nothing about them. We don't care nothing about them. I do tell them the devil and lies with no apologies. And if they want to go ahead and serve the sun, let them serve the sun. And if they don't think that if they think I'm misrepresenting them, I clearly have made it open in newspapers. I've clearly made open statements. I'm willing to debate any preacher in this area, in this town, on any subject they want, as long as it's in the open forum for everybody to hear. And then what do I get? Crickets. I get nothing. So if anybody comes to you with a bunch of foolish, remember, smite the shepherd, the sheep will scatter. and the accused who is doing these accusations, because people got roundabout ways that they do stuff. And if these people are accusing, and then the one they're accusing is never able to face the accuser, what does the Torah say? Now, I mean, you can't answer because you don't know what the Bible says. The Bible says that you have to have 2 or more witnesses before a word can be established. I mean, eyewitnesses. I mean, you just can't be going out there and because you heard somebody say something, jump on a bandwagon and then just automatically assume that it's true. And you know how we do today. We come in a spirit of hypocrisy, acting like we're really truly concerned about someone, when really truly all we're trying to do is sway them from the course they're on because you're not on that course. That's how we do things. So we act like we're concerned. So these people up there, they act like they're really truly concerned about my sister, but the only thing they're really concerned about is getting her away from this preacher. That's all there is to it. Now, she's a very intelligent woman. She chooses to come to church here, and she can continue to keep coming here because she's my sister and I love her dearly. And she's a very close sister of my wife, very close friend. But the assembly here, the doors here, just like any other congregation, it swings both ways. People don't have to stay here. But I tell you what, you have to start questioning people who will sit and start listening to nonsense like that and continue on to keep hearing nonsense like that from people who do nothing but attack. You know, I know almost all these Israelites that live here. Matter of fact, I know every Israelite that live here, and I know the Israelites that faithfully attend here. And there are many of my brothers and sisters that are scattered all across this world that I know them. I've seen them. I saw them on 2 or 3 occasions. They have been here. They lived here on the land with me, broke bread with me. I know them. And if somebody comes to me accusing you, any of you, of anything, do you know how far that's going to go with me? That's going to go in one ear and out the other, because I know the devil's devices. That I do. But it's amazing how when you are a preacher and a teacher, it's like there's almost a spirit that they just can't wait for you to fall so they can say that all the truth that you've ever spoken was a lie. Isn't that the real motivation? No, the truth always sets free regardless. And of course, they did the same thing what Jesus did too, didn't they? Didn't they falsely accuse him? See, we knew he had no sin. We knew he had no sin. But did you know that it said that everybody in that crowd, they all agreed with one voice and said, crucify him. That means we're still trying to do the same thing today. Israel, I want y'all to start discerning these people, because the devil is playing hardball. Remember, there's only going to be a remnant. Only a remnant. And you know what? All of us, no matter who we are in this world, where we choose to believe or not believe, every single one of us is going to judgment, whether you like it or not. So if you can't change, can't conform, then fill up your cup. Have fun. Because the day is coming that we're all going to stand in judgment. And we're not going to stay here forever. And as a tree fall, so shall it lie. You better hope that you live your life in righteousness and holiness and pureness and in truth the few days that we've all been allotted here on this earth. Now, I've just spoke to us a very sobering truth here this morning, and I hope you can let these sayings sink deep down into your heart, is my prayer.